My easy tuna noodle casserole recipe is the best. It's a classic dish to which I'm going to add my own spin. Those of you who know me know that I don't like to cook with condensed soup because I feel like it has an odd aftertaste. So I'm going to make this tuna noodle casserole without soup. Instead, I'm going to add sour cream, onion soup mix, pimentos, a ton of cheese, and top it all with potato chips. It's going to be great. To start off the recipe, I took 8 ounces or half a pound of frozen peas and carrots. I covered them and I microwaved them on high for 3.5 minutes. Then I took off the top and let the steam evaporate to get as much moisture out. Over here I have 6 ounces or 170 grams of wide egg noodles. Usually when I make an 8x8 casserole, I use 8 ounces or half a pound of noodles, but I'm not sure which recipe will go up first, but I did a chicken noodle casserole recipe and I felt like 8 ounces of the wide egg noodles was way too much. I think that when compared to whole wheat rotini or whole wheat elbows, the wide egg noodles, they expand a lot more when they cook, and I thought that 8 ounces was just too much. So I'm going to start off with 6. I may add more. You can't forget the tuna. I'm using 2 5-ounce cans of chunk light tuna packed in water, drained. Like I said, some sour cream, 1 cup, 240 grams. I'm also going to start off with 2 tablespoons or 30 grams of pimentos. If you're unfamiliar with pimentos, it's a type of chili pepper that's similar to a red bell pepper, but it's actually sweeter and it has a little bit of spice to it. It's nowhere near a jalapeno or anything like that. I would say it's slightly spiced. It's as a hint of spice. If you don't like spicy things, you might actually still like that. But it's noticeably sweeter than a red bell pepper. It's used in a lot of southern recipes like pimento cheese, which I'll do at some point. I've seen it in some classic tuna noodle casserole recipes, so I'm going to give it a try. I may add more, we'll see. Here I have half a cup of skim milk along with 1 egg. That's just to hold everything together. I like my casseroles to hold their shape, and I think the extra dairy will keep it creamy. 8 ounces of Colby Jack cheese. Half I'm going to put in the casserole, half I'm going to put on top. I'm starting off with 60 grams, so that's 2 ounces of just regular potato chips to go on top. We'll see how much I need. I'm going to add about 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt, and I have this little dish over here for some spice. I think I'm going to add some, but I'm not sure. We'll see. Whenever you're making something for the first time, it's good to add a little bit at a time and taste it to see if you like it. Everything is cooked. All I had to do is boil the pasta, microwave the peas and carrots, drain the tuna, which I'm adding, and I'm breaking up slightly as I add it to the dish. Now I'm just going to add everything except for the egg and half of the cheese and the potato chips, and I'll bring you back. I just added my onion soup mix, half of the Colby Jack cheese. Now it's time for the cup of sour cream. I am using low fat, but you can use regular if you want. The pimentos, and now to stir. Over the past few minutes, I've just been stirring the tuna, the noodles, the sour cream, the onion soup mix, the cheese, everything together. And I tasted it, and it's delicious, but I'm just gonna go ahead and add all of the pimentos. I'm using a 4-ounce jar, so just drain that jar, chop them up, and add all of them. If you have red bell pepper, you could definitely do that. I honestly think it would be good just with the red bell pepper, but if you want to recreate the taste of the pimentos, what I would do is I would add probably between a quarter and half a teaspoon of sugar and a couple dashes of hot sauce. All the pimentos are in the tuna noodle casserole mix, but I'm still going to add a little bit of extra seasoning. Here I have half a teaspoon each of garlic powder, onion powder, black pepper, basil, oregano, and parsley. I usually add this mix to almost all of my casseroles. I like the bright, summery flavor that everything adds, especially the basil. I'm making this tuna noodle casserole on a very cold day here in Chicago, and I think all those summery spices are really going to make this bright. I'm also going to add something that I've never seen in any tuna noodle casserole recipe. I'm going to add some mustard. Once again, I think the mustard will add some brightness and really make this interesting. You could use regular mustard, but I would use Dijon or honey Dijon. I like things that are sweet, but I don't have that on hand. What I do have is my Argentine mustard. I make Southern food and I make Argentine food, and this mustard is my favorite. Savora mustard is the best. It has a lot of things. It has cinnamon, nutmeg, thyme, oregano, some sugar, coriander, bay leaf, a lot of things. I would say it's closest to a honey Dijon because it is a tad bit sweet. So if you have Dijon or honey Dijon mustard, I would add that. I am going to start off with a teaspoon. I'm going to mix it in and see what I think. I mixed in the teaspoon of the Savora mustard. Once again, it's like honey Dijon. I like it. Some people might not. But I just wanted to give you an idea of how you can add flavor to a healthy version of tuna noodle casserole. Like I said, I'm making this without soup, and I use fat-free sour cream, so there's less cream, less fat in this recipe. So to give it that comfort food taste, because I'm taking away fat, I need to add flavor in some other way. So that's why I added all the spices, the onion soup mix, and the mustard. I'm going to add probably 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. Here I have my egg, and I'm using half a cup of skim milk. Once again, trying to keep this a little bit healthy since I'm going to add cheese and potato chips. Now I'm going to stir it to combine and then pour it into my buttered 8x8 dish. This tuna noodle casserole recipe is going to be extra cheesy. So with 4 ounces or half a cup in the casserole itself, I'm now putting the other half a cup on top of the casserole. I'm using Colby Jack because that's what I have on hand, but I think most of the traditional recipes call for cheddar. I would use a sharp cheddar. I think that would work great. The Colby Jack has that bite, that kind of tartness, the tanginess that cheddar does. So I think this will work out as well. Now for the potato chips on top. Like I said, I have 3 ounces, 60 grams. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to crush them in my hand and just sprinkle them on top like this. I'll see how many I use. I think 2 ounces or 60 grams of potato chips was just right. I want some crunch, but like I said, I'm trying to keep it healthy. So since these are very calorie dense, I'm trying to limit them. My tuna noodle casserole just came out of the oven. It was in at 350, uncovered, for 35 minutes. I was really excited to try this because even though tuna noodle casserole is a classic dish, I had never had it before, so I was really curious. My easy tuna noodle casserole recipe with no soup turned out really well. The potato chips on the top gave a nice bit of crunchiness as well as extra saltiness. And the sour cream made the inside of the casserole not only creamy but also tangy, without the use of canned soup. Cheese makes everything better, so it was a nice addition as well. I also like the fact that with the added frozen vegetables, this casserole was colorful and healthy. However, in all honesty, even though this tuna noodle casserole was easy to make and it was definitely good, it wasn't amazing. Like I already said, this was my first time trying tuna noodle casserole, so I don't have anything to compare it to. The truth is that I don't really like tuna, but I wanted to try this recipe and put my own spin on it since it's definitely a classic. However, in spite of adding sour cream, cheese, potato chips, onion soup mix, and pimentos, I just couldn't get over my dislike of tuna. I definitely think it needs something else. I'm not quite sure what that is, but I'm thinking it's probably more pimentos. This casserole was also my first time ever working with pimentos, and I think that doubling the amount I used would probably have been good. They're definitely sweeter than regular red bell peppers, and on a scale of 0 to 10, I would rate their heat as a 1 or 2, normal red bell peppers being 0. So like I said, adding more pimentos would probably have made this casserole more interesting. That being said, if you try this easy tuna noodle casserole recipe and you double the amount of pimentos and you like tuna going into this, I think you'll really like it. As always, thanks for watching. See you next time.